to His Holiness, we are all gathered here for this event, Voice of Sankara Alumni. We will start this event, this week event, with chanting a prayer song. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Dasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayah, Sarve Bhadrani Bhashyantu, Margashit Dukhavar Bhaved. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Okay. I will take the privilege to deliver my welcome address for this event. Most respected, revered, and esteemed principal of our institution, Dr. K.R.V. sir. Most respected and honorable chairman of our institution, Dr. V.B. Kumarakrishnan sir. Most respected and humble and honorable secretary of our institution, Dr. V.B. Rishikeshan sir. Distinguished heads of the department, learned faculty members, and dear students, I welcome you all for this yet another edition of this Voice of Sankara Alumni. Today, we are fortunate to have a wonderful resource person, one of the notable alumni of our institution, Mr. Anand Seetharaman, who is currently occupying the prestigious position of Consultant Program Manager, Dell Technologies, Bangalore. It's my great privilege and proud to welcome our principal sir, secretary sir, chairman sir, for giving their support, motivation to organize this event. My wholeheartedly welcome today's chief guest, Mr. Anand Seetharaman, who has accepted our invitation in a very short notice and will going to enlighten us with a topic on learning personal branding. Mr. Anand Seetharaman is 96th batch of our institution, who has done his undergraduate bachelor's in computer science in our institution. He has occupied several positions in different industries as well, in IT industries, in various roles and responsibilities, and he is a fittest person to personal branding in all aspects. With these very few words, I invite Mr. Anand Seetharaman to deliver a talk on learning personal branding and wish our students to stamp their feet on their IT career. Over to Anand Seetharaman. Thank you. Thank you. I will take this honor at the end of the session if time permits. Thank you. I don't want to wait too much. So please, we will directly start the session. I hand over the mic to Mr. Anand. Please.
Okay. Good morning, Rajesh. Thank you so much for the nice introduction. Good morning, everyone. I hope you guys can hear me well. I was kind of surprised when Rajesh said notable alumni. Okay, I hope that was in the positive sense, Rajesh. Okay, before I get on to the session, I really want to thank everyone for this opportunity, especially our K.R.V. sir has always been my favorite, and it's such a happy feeling that when he is around here, I'm here to give back something to the college that I studied. So with that note, I wish you all good luck, and I would get on to the subject at this point. We will have a kind of questionnaire session towards the end of the session. So hold on to your questions. You could obviously put that on chat if you would like, just in case you don't forget it later. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Yeah. Okay, so let me get on to this topic. Okay, so I hope you guys are able to see my screen.
Yes, Anand. Yes.
Okay, so why did I choose this topic? So probably I would like to quickly get onto that before getting onto the slide. So I know a few of my batchmates and other alumni have been doing a bunch of technical sessions, domain sessions, that must have been useful for all of you. But why did I go for something non-technical? Uh, Typically because most of us in the IT industry, inclusive of me, when I got into my first job, little did I know that interpersonal skills are very important than anything at all that you do at work. Obviously, be it you're into IT or be it into a manufacturing company or name anything else for that matter. So you're obviously going to perform because that's your job. But how are you going to deliver that? How are you going to get the perceptions formed amongst your colleagues and the stakeholders that you work with forms a majorly important thing. So, which is where personal branding, comes in. So, I'm not sure how many of us have, known of this subject. I don't know if Google Meet allows raising hands. Can you guys raise hands, on this? I would at least just like to know how many of us have known the subject for that matter, to an extent at least. Okay, I believe, Rajesh, not everyone can raise hands on the same bridge, right? Okay,
Yes,
I'll
Anand.
probably
Yes,
go.
Anand. Yes, the people are in a other platform as well, YouTube as well. You just
Okay,
please go ahead. Thank you.
okay, okay. Got it. So this slide, I put that in here typically to tell, I mean, to let us all people know what are the grades talking about personal branding. So products are made in the factory, but brands are created in the mind. This is someone called Walter Lander, who is a business visionary from the US. Life isn't about finding yourself. Life is about creating yourself. George Bernard Shaw. Your brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room. So this was something I was quite impressed with. Quoted by Jeff Bezos. You know him. He's the founder and executive chairman of Amazon. Be yourself, everybody else is already taken. Oscar Wilde, again, is an Irish playwright and a poet. I'm sure those who are fond of the English literature would know him, obviously. Determine what you are and what your brand is and what you're not. The rest of it is just a lot of noise. So when I'm reading this through, I just wanted to read this through, though you can do that yourself, typically because I wanted to set the stage for what we're going to do for the next 30 to 40 minutes today. It takes 20 years to build a reputation and 5 minutes to ruin it. If you think about it, you'll do things differently. Warren Buffett. So, so when we see all these grades talking about branding, I mean, typically personal branding here, uh, all these people are someone all of us look up in terms of whatever industry they have been into. So these guys are role models, obviously. So I'm sure, it's just not as a facilitator I'm talking about. This is something I have learned over time, and I want to be sure all of us focus onto this while we get on to the rest of our career. I would like to get a couple of videos played before I get on to the next part. These two videos can probably take 2 to 2.5 minutes each. Uh, I hope when I play this, do let me know if there is any bad telecast of this video, just in case. I want you guys to curiously listen to these videos because the people on here, Lauren Carter, and this is again influencer marketing. The guy from there, I forgot his name. So they talk about some important points that all of us would be able to reflect with.
Sorry to interrupt, Anand. I think audio is not coming. Maybe you have to make the settings to connect to computer audio to your YouTube.
Hold on. Let me try that.
Maybe one such clue is if you can remove your headset connection from your laptop, I think the sound will play.
Okay, makes sense. I'll do that. Are you guys able to hear that now?
Yes, Anand. Yes, yes.
I'm often asked to explain what a brand or branding is, and it's sometimes easier to say what it isn't first because so many people have varying ideas or views of what branding is. The things that come up most commonly is that people think a brand is a logo or a website or a letterhead or a piece of packaging. But those things aren't the brand. They're just the visual identifiers or badges associated with the product or service. A brand is the meaning we give to a product or service, how we feel about something in our hearts and minds. It's a story, a personality, the promise a brand makes to meet our expectations in certain ways, the collection of experiences we have every time we engage with a brand through the product, its services, or people that work for it, that all collectively make up what a brand is. So, if, for example, I'm running one of my mastermind branding workshops and I ask people to list or talk about brands they love and why they love them, some of the ones that typically get mentioned include Apple and McDonald's. Participants typically talk about Apple as cool, really great, easy to use, innovative, premium. They love the Genius Bar, great interaction to meet customers' needs, and they sometimes talk about it being secretive too. Or McDonald's, simple, easy enjoyment, a quick treat for the family with menus, toys, and activities that are kids friendly. If I draw an apple or the golden arches, they identify the brands immediately. But the things that really get people talking are how those brands make them feel and the experiences they associate with the brands from when they've been using them or experiencing them. Interestingly, they don't talk about Apple in terms of technology or gigabytes or McDonald's in terms of just burgers and chips. So when you think about it, it's pretty amazing what those brands have achieved. They've got people all around the world feeling something similar about their brands, a collective shared sense of similar feelings and associations. They've given those brands meaning rationally and emotionally that all their target audience identifies with and values. It all sounds very ambiguous, but when you think about it, brands live in people's hearts and minds, and branding is the activities engaged in by brand owners to help people feel the way they do about those products or services, all of which gives them a compelling reason to buy repeatedly. So I apply that thinking in terms of, well, what does your brand stand for? What do you want to be seen as in the world? What do you want to articulate in terms of your brand's mission and purpose? What do you want your style of interaction to be? What's your positioning? And how do you want people to feel about you? And what do you want people to tell other people about you? We then drill down to creating your brand story, your brand values, your brand promise, mission, vision, and purpose. These are the foundations, the heart of creating a brand, the key ingredients of what underlays and provides the direction and strategy for how your brand looks or sounds in terms of its name, logo, copywriting, website, and customer experiences. It's only when you address those brand fundamentals that you can start looking at design, aesthetics, logos, and branding strategy to get your message out into the world. Without this, you're attempting to market something that has no real meaning. And if it has no real meaning, it's not going to attract your ideal audience or command a premium. That's what a brand and branding is all about. If you'd like to find
Okay, you guys must have heard what Lorraine has been talking about as branding. So, is that a possibility, Rajesh, that one of our students likes to summarize it quickly based on what they have understood?
I will I will check now. Otherwise, I have to do that. I think from your words, it will be reach uh, to the broad spectrum of thing because they are already listening to me. But in your
No,
in your
no.
own words, you can brief.
Okay, sure.
I
See,
think some of the people, actually, sorry to interrupt, some of the people unknowingly raising the hand because of their mobile. They are, instead of muting their audio, they just click this raise hand. That's why we
mhm.
have instructed the students to join in the YouTube link. Anyhow, please bear the inconvenience. Okay, thank you.
No problem. Okay, see, guys, what you have seen Lauren talking about as branding. So, one thing that I want to register here is she's talking about branding as an emotional thing and a rational thing. So, what exactly does she mean here? See, as a person, let me say, I want to create a personal brand of myself. Okay, and how do I really make that impact on the people that I have as a target audience? So it's important that I connect with these people first. Only when I connect with these people, I become credible to an extent, after which people will start trusting me. So that is the emotional connect that Lorraine is talking about here. And obviously, when we talk about rational, it kind of clearly indicates to the person who's creating a personal brand, kind of reminder to the person that people who are watching you are not fools. They have they have brains of their own. So it's important. Anything that you strike has to be rational enough so that the first impact happens. So I'll move on to the next video quickly. I think this is a shorter video. Oh my, it's hold on.
If I showed you this logo or this logo, you'll know what it is, the quality of the product, and probably who it's aimed at. Now, if I showed you these faces, you'd probably have a similar experience. That, in its very purest form, is what a personal brand is. But really, it goes so much deeper, and it's an incredibly powerful way to market. So let's dive in to learn more. Have you ever Googled your name? Well, of course you have. Did what pop up represent what you want to be known for? Or did an old man pop up like it did when I gave it a shot? Personal brand is your unique mixture of skills, experience, personality, and know-how. These features promote you and tell your brand story, reflecting your conduct, behavior, spoken and unspoken words and attitudes. It's basically a professional image, how you look in real life combined with how the media portray you and the impression that people gain from the information they find about you online. These can develop organically and potentially very, very quickly, or you can work on your brand to portray to the world the person you want to be. But why would you want to become a personal brand? Well, a personal brand allows you to highlight your strengths and passions. It helps people to feel like they know you better, which means they trust you more. But rely on this when it comes to elections. People vote for the people they feel they know and trust. Some benefits you'll find from building a personal brand is people will buy from you without you needing to sell overtly. They'll purchase what you provide, recommend you more to their friends, and help you build more of an audience. So why is personal branding so important? Building a strong personal brand is the key to being considered influential. It helps you stand out from the pack, and it's what makes you memorable. Think back to the examples I showed you at the start of the video. If I showed you these faces, you'd probably have a similar experience. You probably knew who Richard Branson was and probably had an opinion of him that made him stand out when we showed you the image of him. The reason this is more important than ever is the distrust built by millennials to advertising. 84% of them don't trust adverts or the brands they create. Yet they're prepared to believe people they know, even business people behind brands they don't like. This has caused a major reshuffle in the way businesses market themselves and why influencer marketing has become so successful over recent years. Richard Branson mentions in his book Losing My Virginity that he noticed people were more interested in him than they were Virgin, which is why he attempted so many stunts to remain in the public eye. What was good for him was good for the company. Think of Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, even Donald Trump. Business has merged with celebrity culture. Here's some things to consider for building your own personal brand. To start off, you need to self-reflect. It's very hard to describe yourself. It's easier to explain how you want to be and go from there. If your main goal is to improve your business using your personal brand, you need to get a solid grip for your target audiences. They need to match. There's no point building an audience of men in their 20s if your company sells makeup brushes. Really, you want to build a reputation as someone who cares about the types of people that are potential or existing customers. The key is to come across as human, and as the name might suggest, personal. This allows you to de-emphasize selling to appear more authentic. The best way to build a personal brand is on social media nowadays. You need to be where your target market spends their time and create open accounts for them to follow and engage with. So that's the personal side. What about the brand side? Well, you need to decide on a consistent color scheme, fonts, icons, and graphics, and you should use these everywhere. So they should appear on your website, social account, business cards, and anything printed. Carry business cards with you everywhere. Yeah, it's old school, but they still work. If you're representing a business, they should match the colors and fonts of that too. You should also consider what you wear in public situations. Steve Jobs and Mark Zuckerberg went for the same outfit every time they're in public. It eliminated a choice and saved on ironing. It's a big grubby though. So, if you're a CEO of a bank, don't turn up in shorts and a tank top. The final thing to think about is your actions. They need to match your brand. Like pretty much every area of marketing, consistency is key here. If you look the part and turn up in the right places, you need to act the part too. People's expectations of a politician are different from, say, a rock star. If a politician were found taking drugs, there'd be an uproar and trust would be lost. Yeah, if a rock star got busted, nobody would bat much of an eyelid. Okay, so you might not be under the same spotlight, but you still need to consider this and act like the person you promote yourself to be, which will be a lot easier if that's actually who you are. Be authentic, don't try to be a saint if you're not. It'll all come out in the wash. It's easy to spot a fake. And if you want to check out your own personal brand's health score, then have a look at the link in the description to use our tool.
Okay. Let me quickly summarize what this gentleman is talking about personal brand. But before I get there, I want to quote this small example, what he was talking about. Let's consider a politician. In any country, politicians are, expected to be ethical, straightforward, and all that, which anyway doesn't happen. But that's the kind of image all of us have about politicians. So let's say a politician is caught because of drug abuse, let's say. What is the kind of damage to his image that will happen? All of us can visualize what it will be. The politician would rather lose his career altogether, and no one is ever going to trust him again. But let's say we probably can talk about a rock star, like he says. Let's say we've had Michael Jackson. He's been there, done that. So if a rock star does drugs, no, this is typically only enhancing his image in a way, because people don't really think, what he did was bad. He gets positive publicity out of this exercise, negative thing that he does. So obviously that is what he's talking about here. So personal brand is very important for us. For that matter, when we create that first initial impact, when we especially get in line with target audience the first time, it's really, really important. That's what he's talking about here. So also he was talking about, while he was mentioning a few things to watch out, like self-reflecting, watch out what you wear, all this stuff. So that's very important, I would believe. For example, me being an IT professional, so all of us work from home at this point in time. I could have just been on a shorts and a t-shirt. That's perfectly could have been good. But why did I want to go for a jean and a t-shirt? Typically because, I don't get that feel of talking about personal branding if I were to do that. So that's how I think. Others could feel it a different way. For example, if I was a gym instructor, I would have come on a tight shirt and a shorts, it still goes good. So personal branding, like the heading of the slide says, when the brand is you. So it's very important for each of us to, kind of uh, create our brand so that we really will be able to see what the impact will be. We'll talk about it more on the upcoming slides. I'll quickly run through this slide because we are only going to talk about some personal brands, names of people whom we all know of. There could be conflicting opinions from this slide. Have that with you. I'll explain why I did it this way now. Hugh Hefner, editor-in-chief of the Playboy magazine. So we all know what Playboy magazine is all about. So that's a personal brand he chose to create. APJ Abdul Kalam, former president of India, his brand was simplicity, that of simplicity and ethics. So we all know that. So that's his brand. Tata, founder of the Tata Group. So we all know what is the kind of brand he has created across his group of companies. Rajinikanth, Hollywood superstar. Again, all of us know when there were a bunch of heroes around during that point in time when he was introduced. His differentiating selling point was his style. So that was his brand. Dr. J. Jayalalitha, again, there are mixed views about her as a person, but what I see in her is typically that of an able administrator who is capable of conversing anything in the nicest way or the worst way possible, depending on the situation. Akshay Kumar, Bollywood star. Bill Gates, co-founder of Microsoft. Narendra Modi, Prime Minister of India. So I had typed it as Prime Minister of India. So we all know how Modi and his government have kind of, enhanced India's personal brand across the world. So that has certainly happened, and we are all seeing that. Swami Vivekananda, Sachin Tendulkar, Sunny Leone, Steve Jobs, MS Dhoni. Okay, so why did I add Sunny Leone here? That was a conflicting thing I was talking about. So all of us know that she was a former porn star, but the kind of rebranding, personal rebranding that she has done today is actually phenomenal. While it's there in the people's minds, I see that it has taken her a lot of guts to rebrand her into a Bollywood star or an Indian star, whichever languages that she's working upon. So that's exactly why I included in there. We'll move on to the next slide. So what is personal branding? So personal branding is what shapes the perception of an individual in the eyes of the public. Personal branding is all about building your reputation, creating an image of yourself for the outside world, and marketing yourself as an individual. Essentially, your personal brand is a story that's told about you when you're not in the room. Self-explanatory. So these liners are typically, kind of give us a feeler about why personal branding is important. Simple. As a person, each of us, when we get onto a limelight, let's say all of us have an opportunity to do a 2 minutes speech on stage. So what is that? What is the kind of impact we are going to make is something critical here. So when you get onto the stage, what is that the people are going to understand about you? What as a person are you going to sell about you? What adjectives would they use about you when they describe you later? Is the image that you create, will that be positive or is that going to be critical? So all of these are kind of shaped by a personal brand. That's what I see. So the perception of an individual, that's one key aspect I want to touch base about here. See, many of us are taught this way when during the upbringing. So sometimes, if our parents are very strong personalities, they would probably tell us, "Hey, you don't care about what others think. Be yourself." They're right. Be yourself. But having said that, the kind of perception that people form is something that you have to watch out for. When you be yourself, what is the kind of perception people are going to get? Is that going to land you up where you want to be in life or career? All that is something that you will have to watch out when you're being yourself, when you're kind of creating that personal brand across you. So all of us will have a personal brand, knowingly or unknowingly. But the important aspect is you have a choice to actively manage a brand or leave it to chance. What does it mean? So you have the opportunity to create a personal brand, get to exactly match what people perceive about you in the manner that you want it to be. So that's your choice. Or leave it to chance. People would form their own opinions, positive, negative, critical, constructive, damaging, whatever it could be. That's a personal brand that you have a choice of creating for yourself or leaving it to people for creating on your behalf. So what would I do that if I'm given an opportunity, I would rather create a personal brand of myself and make people exactly perceive me in the same manner I want them to perceive me. Yes. How do you build your personal brand? So we have a few pointers here. I'll get into little detail on a few things, but I'll quickly run the others through because it's important we cover up the subject today. So understand why you're building a personal brand. That's very important. So for me, all of us are BCA students here. I understand. Doesn't matter if you're a BCA student or a student from microbiology or biochemistry or anything at all. So obviously, a personal brand is very important for you. How exactly is it going to help you? What are your specific reasons for wanting to create a strong brand? That's something you will have to figure out, because let us say one of us want to, become a computer scientist, want to work for Apple, let's say. What is the kind of personal brand that you would want to create for yourself from this moment in college is something that you'll have to think of. And Rome was not built in a day. Obviously, you'll have to strategize that, what kind of personal brand you're going to create for yourself and get on further. We'll talk about it again. So take control of your PIE. PIE is a common term that's used in this field of personal branding. Performance, image, and exposure. So performance, that's very clear. So performance is typically the daily work that we do, be it in college or at work, whatever is your day-to-day stuff. When you do performance, so that is exactly, let's say, let's consider IT. Whatever you deliver on a day-to-day basis and what are the results you derive out of it is termed as performance here. So experts say performance, it's only 10% of a contributor to your success. Oh, isn't that surprising? Okay, so image is something that experts believe will attribute to 30% of your success. So which is where how others perceive becomes very important for us. So when we talk about image, so personal brand needs to be very much in place here, because irrespective of the fact you have a great attitude, you do your work amazingly well, the kind of appreciations you get from your customers is immensely superb. All that wouldn't matter if the customers or your peers or your bosses, managers don't think that way. The big mistake that all of us do, we all think that however I assume I am is what others will perceive me to be. I may assume I'm fabulous at something. Others may think I'm crap. So it's very, very important you watch out what others perceive about you. It's a little challenging for people who don't want to talk to people. So come out of that shell. It's very important. How do you get to know what kind of image people are forming about you? One thing, you can watch out. Second thing, come out of the shell, go talk to them and get feedback about you. Getting feedback is something, very, very important in today's world. There are organizations where people get to you for feedback, constructive, negative feedback on your face. So it's very, very important for us to even get accustomed to something like that. Understand that something like that is what is the kind of world that we are living in. So be open to feedback. Obviously, you will get to know what your image is and improve upon it. Exposure. That's the major thing that contributes to your success. We talked about performance 10%, image 30%, and the remaining 60% is based on your exposure. What is this exposure? It's more about your network, the kind of people, the kind of influence that you have in a particular sphere of influence. What is that? Let's say there is an issue. Let's say you live in an apartment society, and your water tank has a big crack. So what is the kind of exposure we are talking about here? If you have good connects with some classic plumbers who can get this job done better quickly, so call them up, call the plumber up, get this job done. That is certainly a kind of exposure in day-to-day world, real life. At work, we have a variety of examples that you could think of. So exposure, the kind of connects you have, is very, very important. Again, that does not mean I'm not saying that you should send a connect request on LinkedIn to every damn person that you see. That's not what I'm talking about. Find your brand story and create a brand framework. You need to know your brand's purpose, core values, brand benefits, and reasons to believe, tangible branding elements, creating a personal brand framework, what sets your brand apart. So you need to be sure. See, there are a bunch of people. Let's say you update your resume on LinkedIn, update your profile on LinkedIn. Okay, and there are thousands of people who typically say, I'm a team player, I'm a go-getter, result-oriented and all that. Yeah, everyone is today. So what is that makes your personal brand apart? Think about it. And I'm sure all of us have different amazing skills. You are the best person to figure out what your special skills are. Doesn't matter. I don't mean that you have to be the one person in this planet to have that skill. That's not what I mean. But try to sell your skill in the manner it creates an impact. Assess your personal brand as it stands today. What does Google say? What story are you telling on social media? How do you come across in real life? So this is very important. Maybe just whatever is your name, Rajesh Narasimhan, Google it up. What is the first result that comes up? It could be Rajesh search, Facebook, or it could be a LinkedIn, or it could be a blog post that he had posted some time back. So what I typically am referring here is, it's very important what Google says on first search. When your results come up, is that something, Anand Seetharaman could be a crappy person, but there could be another Anand Seetharaman in this world who is a fabulous guy. If his followers are going to search him out, if I'm showing up, the crappy person, I'm showing up on the results, what is that he can do, to improve his, can he do something about it? Yes, he can. Probably, the other Anand Seetharaman, who is a fabulous guy, can write a few good blogs, vlogs, podcast. I'm just telling a few modes where someone can build a brand. So it's important when someone occurs more on the social media, someone occurs more on the internet. Obviously, there are the chances of that coming up on the top of the list on a Google search is phenomenal. Share your brand story with your world. So this is very important. So you create a brand, you kind of repurpose it. You say, oh, this is mine is the best brand possible and all that. And how do people know? You'll have to sell it. So typically, you will have to share your profile on various places where you deem to be important for you. Invest in a professional photo on your LinkedIn profile. Customize your headline. Write a compelling summary. The summary should really, make people think, hey, I should talk to this guy. Elaborate on your work experience. Get recommendations from past employers. That's for the more experienced people. Add your key skills and select your social networks of choice. It could be a Facebook, it could be a LinkedIn, it could be an Instagram, it could be a Pinterest, anything that you think will, match the job that you are going to be doing. Build your personal brands, online presence. Create relevant content, blogs. Don't forget traditional type networking. This is very important. We've been talking about so much on the digital space, LinkedIn, social network, blogs, and all that. But don't even forget networking with people in person. So that's very important. Let's say if you have an intercollegiate competition, be sure you participate there in some way. That's still fine if you're not participating in a program. Let's say that be sure you're at least part of the audience to understand what is going on, what are the kind of people around, network with them, talk to them. So that's very, very important. That's exactly how your network is built over a number of years. Pursue a branding strategy. That's a big topic. I may not want to get into. Why do you need a personal brand? It builds trust, it builds connection, it builds credibility, builds confidence, builds authenticity. Building trust, yes. When you have a personal brand, it must be like, let's say you are part of a sales team in an organization. Okay, people should not get a feeling that you're being, imposed, that they are being imposed for a sale. No one would like that. If, for example, if a marketing guy tries to push me hard for buying something, in spite of the fact I would want to buy that, the ego in me would tell, hey, this guy is pushing me. I'm not going to do that now. So it's very important when you're a personal brand, people would obviously want to buy what you want to sell without you even selling it. So that's what we are talking about here. That builds trust. It builds a connection when you start talking to people, get that connect over a period of time. Your credibility is built. When your credibility is built, people just know, if let's say Rajesh or Jay or anyone for that matter say something, they will just go by it. So that's the kind of credibility that builds over time, builds confidence, builds authenticity. Being authentic is very important because as I was mentioning on an earlier slide, it's very important you be yourself. It's important being yourself at the same time projecting your skills in the right manner so that people get it in the manner that it may help your career or life. It's important, you manipulate it because when I say manipulate it, I'm not telling it in the negative sense. It's very important you drive your personal brand rather than someone else doing it for you. It builds authenticity. When people know you're authentic, there is no looking back. What constitutes your personal brand? How you look plus how you speak plus how you act. That's your personal brand. How you look, we all know that. So we know how to enhance our looks. Doesn't matter you're on a full formal suit all the time. So what I'm talking about. How you speak, yeah. The kind of confidence do you reflect when you speak, the kind of content that you have while speaking. People would obviously know, oh, this guy knows what he's talking about. This guy knows what he's doing. So how you act. Yeah, so that constitutes your personal brand. What do people think of me? If I had to choose a word to describe myself at work, what would it be? What skills differentiate me from my peers? Your personal brand must evoke 3 basic perceptions. You are different. Differentiation or the ability to be seen as new and original is important. Like I said earlier, you can't always be original and unique in everything that you do. For sure, that can be a difficult task unless you are a scientist working on a patent. No, it's going to be difficult. When I say you're different, you try to. Obviously, all of us have a number of skills that we may like to boast about. But it's important that you try differentiating yourself. Let's say a poet in Kollywood, let's say, lyric writer in Kollywood. There are a bunch of people that we can name of from olden times, Kannadasan or Vairamuthu or Vijay, name anyone for that matter. So what is the kind of brand that they create for themselves in their sense of writing? So that differentiating aspect needs to come in. A.R. Rahman, as a music director, what is the kind of brand he has created for himself? You are better. Your brand must encourage the belief that you are among the best at what you do in some way. That's very important because all of us probably are doing the same job at work. Let's say we have a Java development team in a particular organization. There are a bunch of junior developers and senior developers who more or less do similar jobs. But what is the kind of differentiation that am I making? So, it's probably important that you get onto the depths of the domain that you're working on, be it a technical domain or a business domain. So that way, when you know things differently, when you're able to impact things differently, that shows you're better than the others. So something like that. And you're authentic. Great brands are spin-free zones. Like I said earlier, it's important that you're authentic because when we are talking about spin-free zones, that would typically mean everyone think about you alike, more or less. That's a kind of on the earlier video that we were talking about. Lorraine Carter was talking about McDonald's and Apple. So all of us across the world have a common sense of feeling about those brands. So it's like spin-free zones. Not many people think differently or negatively about them. So that's what we're talking about here. And do not worry, you cannot impress everyone. So forget about it even. Your brand must be built on the truth of what you are, what your strengths are, and what you love about yourself or your work. That's very important. So don't pretend to be someone that you are not. That's not going to help you. That's only going to backfire and can create damage. So be yourself. It has to be like this liner says, your brand must be built on the truth of what you are, not anything else. Promote your strengths. Remind the world that you're special and why it is special to do business with you. A person called Mary Schnack has quoted this. Tips to build your personal brand. Old style business cards are as crucial to your branding as your social pages are. So obviously, I understand all of you people, audience, are mostly students who may not have business cards at this moment. Okay, but if you guys think you would need one, go for it. Let's say a few of us could be, learning up data sciences, something on artificial intelligence. Let us say, so and you probably are very passionate about it, and maybe have done some home projects or some small projects that you may like to boast about. Maybe you deserve a card, business card. Have something like that. When you go for a college fair or winter college fair, you meet a bunch of people who may like to involve youngsters in their job. Your business cards can help there, not just your social pages on LinkedIn or Facebook or anything else. Carry business cards with you wherever you go if you think it's required. Your actions need to match your personal branding consistently. That's very important, the consistent word. So when you have a personal brand, let's say that you have created for yourself, whether you like it or not, your actions will have to be that way all the time, consistently. Of course, we as human beings, we could miss it sometime, but as long as there is a genuine reason that's get you off your personal brand, the name that you've created for yourself, it's very important that you are consistent. That's exactly why, let's say, teaching, as we all know, is a very noble profession. I thoroughly appreciate and respect the teaching community around. So let's say there are good habits and bad habits people inculcate over a period of time. Let's say a teacher has a smoking habit. So that's his personal. None of us have the rights to question that. But having said that, he or she would rather like to make sure that doesn't come out in the open, because as a teacher, his personal brand is to be a role model. So he or she can't do that. That's what the society expects. So fine. So that's exactly what I mean. So you have to be consistent in your actions. Whatever you do, that's up to you. But yeah, you will have to be watchful of the consequences. Underlying consistency is the secret between creating a successful personal brand. You need to act in a way that fits in with your perceived image. We talked about it. The whole aim of personal branding is not to focus on selling. You don't want to come across as another salesman. Like I said earlier, uh, your personal brand is for selling, but make sure people don't understand, don't realize that you're selling. Be genuine in your intent. Let's say you get introduced to someone today. Please don't do that with an expectation that you will benefit from him or her at a later point in time. Sometime get in touch with them with an intent that you may be able to help them or him or her at some point in time. That's the kind of genuine intent I'm talking about. It doesn't come automatically. You'll have to train yourself on that. But it's really important because, like I said, no one likes to be sold. They want to buy something themselves on their own wills. Uh, Tips to build your personal brand. Again, some follow up on that. I'm not going to get into the detail. When I send you the slides, you can have a look. This typically talks more about whatever we have discussed so far. Only maybe a couple of things that I want to talk about though. Generate publicity. This generate publicity, it's like, it doesn't have to be always a press release or a radio show as they're talking about here. Like it could be a simple LinkedIn post. Let's say you've done fabulously on your college science exhibition. Okay, you could talk about it. What was your role? What is that you did? What was your learning? Talking about it, you generate publicity on your LinkedIn or any of your social network. Stop, think, post. So this is very important that we should all bear in mind. Let's say you've done a Swiggy order. The delivery doesn't happen on time. You're hungry. You get very irritated. You call up customer care, blast them, and get onto the Facebook or a Twitter to blast them about it. Fine, I've done that too. I mean, I'm no exception. So what I'm even talking about here is stop, think, and post. Even when you're going to post anything online, it's important you post it in the right manner, because you have already created a brand for yourself. Let's say you put a damaging post with unparliamentary words. Let's say that's gonna rip your brand forever. So you may see some people unfriending you. That's not what you want to do. So it's important, stop, think, post. If you think you will need to do something dirty like that, be aware of the consequences. That's what I mean. So you can add value. So managing a personal brand is about self-pride. Just give me a moment. Managing your brand is about self-pride. So we are talking about what kind of value we can add to people rather than us getting value from them. So that's a key thing that you will have to watch out. And use LinkedIn like a pro. That's an altogether a separate topic. Maybe if people are interested, maybe I can plan for a separate session later. How to write a personal brand statement. I'll run this through quickly. Write down all your skills, but this is important. Write down all your skills. Figure out who you love to do things for. Listen to what everyone else is saying. What do you do differently? Who's your target audience? Put it together in a few sentences. Add adjectives and simplify it. Make people want more of it. So this is important. So this is something all of us can do, because who knows us better than ourselves? So a couple of brand statements I've tried quoting here. Brand designer for wonderful companies, Jessica Jones. So this is a simple brand caption. It's more like we could think of brand captions for every brand that you could think of, be it Apple, be it Wipro, be it Infosys, for that matter, anyone. Every day I wake up with one goal in mind: how can I help other people travel better for less? It's my mission to help travelers like you realize your travel dreams. So this is from a travel company. So that seems that kind of puts across as genuine interest in helping travelers. That's a personal brand statement. 5 mistakes to avoid. Be original. Provoke your thoughts to make sure you reflect that to the target audience that you will be working with. Avoiding videos. What I mean here is analytics or something. When you're a big company, let's say Apple, based on feedback for products and all that, companies go for Google Analytics, try to because there are going to be millions of responses, feedbacks. It's going to be difficult to do look onto this manually. So something like Google Analytics helps them categorize things and so that they can target on the critical ones from the responses. So what we are talking about is feedback. Get feedback from the people that mean important to you. That could be your very close friends from your class. That could be some mentors. That could be someone from home, your brothers, sisters, cousins. Go for feedback. They probably would be able to give a better feedback about you, just in case if you're struggling to find one about you. Doing too much. Okay, don't do too much. Typically when you're creating a personal brand, when you overdo something, again, you're caught. That's what they mean here. So I'm not going to get into this. This was something I saw on one of these websites called Crossover to Roads, a US website that typically helped students create a brand for themselves and help them on their career. Probably they're a job consultant, I'm not sure. So this is something I saw there. I somehow felt all of these are something all of us will have to know, especially students, you guys. It will be very helpful for you to know what we're talking about, especially as personal branding for college students. You can have a look into that when I send this across. We're talking about great branding is similar to wearing a custom-made business suit into an interview. I really love this because it's important you brand yourself in such a way. It's more like you have a custom-made business suit for yourself. It fits you perfectly well, right? It is not loose on your hip or your shoulders. When it fits you perfectly, you are confident. You're a confident lot, and that will add to a lot of the impact that you're going to make in an interview, let's say. So branding is like that. When you have made that attempt to brand yourself and creates that ideal first impression, there is no looking back. A unique and professional brand differentiates you from your competition, makes you more memorable, and help builds trust with clients and prospective employers. Okay, so again, this is something that you could go through. I'll run this through fast because most of them are self-explanatory, but I would still like running this through. What do you do to create or build your personal brand as a college student? Very critical for us. Some tips here. Some of them could be repeat, excuse me for that. Self-realization, be authentic. Blogs, podcasts, professional Instagramming. Attend as many networking events as possible. There are a lot of free events available online too. You'll have to watch out. So ensure to attend intercollegiate fairs with passion and openness to network and learn. Self-market your skills, the best ones first. Self-marketing is very, very critical that all of us will have to learn. Otherwise, trust me, you're out of business. And you guys are very young here as college students. Make that attempt and you will not regret it later. Trust me. Self-marketing your skills is very important. And like I said, the best skills is what you would like to portray first. Do that. Build your LinkedIn carefully. a LinkedIn profile carefully, avoid cliches, build brand associations. That's very, very important. So today's world, LinkedIn plays a prominent role in the job arena. So it's important you build your profile very diligently and carefully, and avoiding cliches. I was talking about profiles which talk about a team player, all that stuff, right? So these are called cliches. Try to make your brand, differentiate. Come out differently. So that's important. In building brand associations, that kind of comes over time. That kind of comes over a period of time. Differentiate yourself by knowing your industry deeply. Be yourself while you create a personal brand. Be personal while you connect through LinkedIn. This is what I earlier said. It's very important to connect to people that you actually know of, or at least a friend knows of. Typically, like someone introduces you to them, that's fair. And do not connect to people that you barely know about. It's very possible they ignore a request. That's one different thing. Okay, but that doesn't help. Your LinkedIn network has to be a network that you build over time, not the people that you know of, because sometimes people can misuse your connect. Let's say one of you become the CEO of a company, a great company, and someone you connected with a number of years back, who you may not know, can misuse your connect. So don't do that. Forget about someone misusing it. It's not going to help you as a person. So connect to people only when you think that's going to make a difference to your career or life. Be consistent. What you need to ask yourself to create an authentic brand. What is your ultimate career goal? What makes you different from the rest? What brings me joy? What motivates you? What do you know? What do you want to be known for? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What are the top brands or people that inspire you? What colors do you identify with? How do you want to represent yourself on social media? Think about it all. A quick recap. I'm not going to talk here, or you can have a look into that later when I send across this slide, this deck. So this typically, summarizes whatever we have spoken about over this last 45 minutes or 1 hour. Okay. Thank you. So I'm done. So I'm happy for taking any questions just in case. So only one closing note here. So why did I have this? Does your brand stand out? So that's very, very important. You create a personal brand, and you're the right person to make sure that your brand stands out and improves your prospects of jobs, your life, a girlfriend, anything it could be. No, that's very important. And I've just added one last slide. That's not very readable. Some references that I have gone through on the internet that have helped me preparing this deck. Thank you. Over to you, Rajesh.
Thank you so much, Anand, for your excellent talk on personal branding. Actually, we have learned a lot on personal branding. You have given a lot of food for thought, especially to be unique. And my mind goes through a lot of slides. Actually, it's like how, even as a teacher, as you pointed out, it's the profession which has been for 24 hours. I don't think the people will take like only during the office hours we have been treated as a teacher, but even outside of the campus as well, we are treated as a teacher. So we have to behave as if uh, you have pointed out some of the habits which really a common man can enjoy for. Thank you so much for that. And before coming on to summarize this talk, I just, if you permit me, I read a few questions posted by our students. Shall I?
Sure, Rajesh, go ahead.
Yeah. This is from Mr. Danush from 3rd BCA. He's interested in asking that how can you make impact on personal branding on virtual world, say social media?
Correct. Sorry, come again. What was the question again?
Personal branding on virtual world, that is on social media. How can you establish a personal branding, your personal branding on social media?
Okay. So how can we establish that? Okay.
Yes.
So that's sorry, my daughter wants to say hi. Okay, just go. Okay. See, what you will typically need to do is, it's not going to be a day's job again. So you create a profile. You make sure your profile sells yourself altogether. Sorry, just give me a moment. Okay, so and there are a bunch of modes in which you do that. It could be blocks, original blocks. If you're good in, if you have a good command in the language, it doesn't matter English. You could still do it in your mother tongue if you would like it to be. The kind of impact that makes is very important. You could do podcasts. Podcast, for example, I have one of my ex bosses who used to be with Dell. Now he's gone to he went on to another company, big model, a big brand again. So what he does, he kind of does a 3-minute podcast. Okay, or was it a 1-minute podcast? 1-minute podcast. So typically runs between 1 to 2 minutes. This 1-minute podcast, what is the kind of impact that will make is something all of us will think. But he knows what he covers. In 1 minute, he covers up something, and obviously he does a follow-up, a longer podcast. So that way he makes sure he becomes a good influencer on social network. People follow him. People kind of are impressed and want to know more about him, more about that specific topic from him. That's one example that I could think of. You make that impact. It's more like a trailer and releasing the main movie later. Something like that you can try. And there is another friend of mine who has a different mode of doing that. He has created a duplicate profile. I would not say duplicate profile. It doesn't have his name on that. He's created I should say, fake profile with a different name. But on this fake profile, where there is not much connection, okay, he tries to, he tries to do blog posts, all that across, and tries to see what is the kind of mileage that it creates. When he knows something doesn't even create good mileage, he forgets it. When something creates good amount of views and feedback, he puts it on his main profile. Maybe that's one way of doing that. But yeah, make sure both the profiles don't have the same name, because I'm sorry, make sure the other profile does not have all the contacts you have on your main profile. Otherwise, your contacts could think you're copying from someone. So that's the last thing that you want to land up into. Yeah, maybe a couple of things that I could think of.
Thank you, Anand. Next question is how personal branding helps in influencing the people?
Yeah.
How personal branding helps in influencing the people?
Okay, perfect. Good question. So, okay, let me say something.
I hope you will pose this question based on your first slide, like Vivekananda, Abdul Kalam. I hope sincerely
Exactly.
in their mind.
Yes, I was going to talk about it, but before even getting there, see, how many of you even know someone called Anand Seetharaman prior to this? Okay, so I don't know if I have created a good impact, not a good impact. I'll wait to hear feedback. But the point I'm trying to drive is, when I decided, okay, personal branding is what I'm going to talk about, did it not create some positive impact? Did it not create a brand for myself? Just thinking. So, so it's very important. So I do not know how many people have viewed this video today. So maybe that also talks about it. I hope the viewers are not less today. But the point is, like Rajesh said, Rajesh sir said. So that particular slide, the names of prominent personalities, talks for answers what the student has asked. Personal branding does make an impact, and that is the only thing that can make an impact for yourself. Otherwise, like I said, if you don't do that, uh, are going to create an opinion for yourself, going to do gossips, talk about you behind you. Like Jeff Bezos said, if people don't talk about you behind you when you're not in the room, it has to be the good things. So that is what a personal brand can actually make. I hope I answered the question.
Thank you. Before I read on to the next question, I think one of the wishes from our principal, K.R.V. sir, has posted in the chat box itself. Actually, sir has joined in your talk. He has listened to your talk for some time, actually. Sir has posted in the chat box as well. You touched upon the confidence, language, building personal brand, all are excellent. It's true that teachers are role models. You also underline consistency, genuineness, wonderful speech, really motivating to the students. I think this is the blessing words from our care sir for you. As you mentioned, it's a feedback. It is already posted in the chat box as well from our care sir. I hope you also responded for that. Just for the sake of our audience in the YouTube link, I just reiterate this sir's words of wisdom on you. And moving on to the next question, is there? I think this student wants to wants to build their own startup. His question is, how much the personal branding can influence on business proposals?
Very much, very much. See, when the student is talking about a startup, so there are two aspects to it when he's going to start this. One, uh, he or she has his own money for pumping into the startup for getting it done. Or if he is going to go to capital investors, venture capitalists, let's say, depending on what is the kind of money that he's looking for a startup. It's if he doesn't have a personal brand for himself created, how would some outsider as a venture capitalist be convinced with giving him lakhs of money or crores of money for that matter? It's very important. If he's really looking to go for a startup, I would recommend him to do a good amount of homework. Make sure he creates a personal brand, maybe something like a catalog for the initial ideas, startup ideas that he may have, which I kind of evolves into his brand statement. So I would believe it's very, very important for him to do that. And because it's as simple, when Flipkart started, or maybe when Redbus started, it was just a small company. Well, let's say Redbus, when it started, all they did was create a web form where someone would enter their name and phone number, and Redbus used to call back the people for their requirement and book tickets, bus tickets. Today we know how Redbus is. So when ideas evolved, automatically, you get people. People get to understand that this business model is going to generate more money. I'll be part of it. So yes, he needs to do a personal branding for sure.
Thanks, Anand. I think it's one more question. This is also from the final year student. How much the personal branding influences in the digital marketing? Maybe you are talking about the targeted marketing, like targeted audience. So how much it will influence in digital marketing, personal branding?
A lot. Examples could be like Lauren Carter was talking in that first video. Apple, okay, the kind of digital brand they have created for themselves. Today, all we would need is to understand, iPhone 15X. I mean, they're not in the market. Let's say iPhone 15X is going to come in place. That's all you would need to know. People will go queuing up for them. So that is a kind of brand they have created for themselves in the digital world. Rightfully, like I was earlier talking about, they don't need to actually sell. People are thronging to buy them. So that is the impact digital marketing has obviously gotten them, over the number of years they have been in business. Does that answer?
Yes, yes, Anand.
Thank you. So, any more questions?
I think people have questions in their mind. I hope, as you said, only few of them has expressed themselves in posting their questions. I hope once it
Perfect.
comes to my side, I will share with you as well. And
Sure.
hopefully, some of our students will be in a position to contact you. Those who are
Sure.
interested,
Sure.
definitely, I hope you will be in a better position to help them and guide them in this further endeavors. With this,
Sure.
uh, I think with this, I thank Mr. Anand Seetharaman for sparing your wonderful time and devoting your wonderful knowledge and enlighten us during this 1 hour, 1.5 hours time. And it's been, I can understand you will be given your prime time to all our students. And it's been excellent talk on this particular thing of uniqueness. Immediately, my mind goes back to the word called Swadharma. That is the word which has been highlighted in Bhagavad Gita as well as the as part of uniqueness. When always someone replicating the things, the results may vary. So one of the spiritual speaker I come across, he used to share this thing, especially in those days, like what we are calling as a branding. In those days, they call it as a swadharma. That says a crowded bus boarded in one bus stop, and at that time, one old person has boarded that particular bus, and immediately conductor has with a lot of harsh words, but still he can able to engage that particular old man inside the bus by giving his seat. So all people who are in that bus are appreciating the act of conductor for giving their seat to their old man. The next, by looking at this thing, driver was so much angry because I have been taking all these people, but nobody appreciates me. So I can have also have my this kind of time. So next stop arrived, the same old some more old man has boarded the bus, and the driver wants to replicate the thing which conductor has done in the same bus in the next stop itself. Now the people who are inside the bus, everyone started scolding the driver because he asked, when the conductor given the seat, everyone appreciate him. When the driver gives his seat, everyone started scolding. So it's like this is the way the Swadharma has been taught in our Bhagavad Gita as well, as you have very much pointed out in all through the slides. It's like uniqueness and be honest to yourself. It's been excellent takeaways from this 1 hour talk. I have a lot of things actually, as you have pointed out. If we can able to reiterate your slides more often, definitely we have come up because you have put lot of questions. Like you have said the tips to create a self branding, but it has got a very good rooted questions on every one of us, and it will take some times, if not weeks, it will take some months to really understand the amount of conceptual thing you have injected in all your presentations. I think it's been wonderful. Just for the word's sake, I am not saying, but I am really appreciate the content you have been come forward. I can understand the amount of time you have spent to preparing all these slides, and it's been really blessings for all of us to listen to this kind of talk. And yes, uh, I hope your association, I think, in my summary, I can say that you have been one of the industry expert in our board of studies as well, and we are always seeking your inputs in framing our curriculum and seeking your guidance in for our final year students to do go on to do their internship, and those who are some people are really interested to do the mini project as well. I think you have come up with excellent presentation, and I wholeheartedly thank. And as a formal vote of thanks, I would like to thank our principal, sir, Dr. K.R.VENKATESAN, for giving this wonderful opportunity to organize this Voice of Sankara alumni for this week as well. And I extend my sincere gratitude and thanks to all our faculty members who are listening in various platforms, Google Meet as well as in YouTube. Also, they are taking care of those the people who are actually attending the things. As you have said, it's also our job to monitor the people who are actually interested. We can give the food who are actually need for that. uh, Otherwise the food has been wasted. It doesn't it don't like the quality. It's like the people who are really yearn for this kind of thirst of knowledge. I think we should reach to those people, and we are also taking steps on that. For that, I appreciate our faculty members. They are joining as one of the students in the YouTube link as well, and they are also part of in this Google Meet as well. And they transmit this presentation to the respective classes. I wholeheartedly thank our colleagues for doing this to reach out to the maximum students. And last but not the least, I thank Mr. Anand for giving your time uh, for enlighten us in the area of branding. And I hope everyone wants to. I think the perspective after listening to your talk, I think the perspective has been changed among the students community. Like as you said, it's not like we used to say pie chart uh, for the performance. I say you simply ruled out that performance. It's like 10% out of it. So it's all about image and exposure. That's what we are trying to do. That we want to give enough exposure to our students by inviting people like you, of caliber of you, to listen to their your views and all. I hope from your words, I think our students have got a lot of exposure, at least how to behave in that presentation as well, and they have taken each and everything on their heart and soul to sell themselves, as you pointed out, is sell themselves what the skill set they are having, and how they can express their skill set which they already know, and they don't need to.
Rajesh, have I lost you? Yeah.
Am I audible now?
Yeah, now you're audible. Yes.
Yes. Okay, so what I am actually trying to say is that you have actually mentioned it like performance, image and exposure, and our students has got excellent exposure for all these things to happen. I think this is one of the event which is considered to be the brainchild of our care visitor as well. He wants to connect all those peoples from different domains, and they, by looking at you, you are from this you are one of the Sankara product. Yes, I can say like that. You are one of the Shankara product, and you are shining star. And it gives us a confidence, the people who are studying in our institution right now, because they should believe that the people who have come over here, from, I hope, from Ozur to Kanchipuram, you have come over here and you have studied, you are undergraduates, and now you will be representing in highest occupied highest position in the prestigious Dell Technologies. It's not just overnight. It doesn't come. It's all about your hard work and commitment, dedication to your work processes, and I hope all these little things definitely the students need to learn. I hope that students have taken it in a, in a way which will imbibe them their characters, and definitely we are in a process of influencing the people. to come up to take up this IT career after completing their BC or BSc Computer Science degree. With these very few words, I thank once again Anand for giving you a wonderful time and your esteemed presence on this day. I hope you will be whenever you find time. Please let me know. We are very much interested to listen to your words of wisdom on yet another topic in some time coming. Okay.
Sure,
With
Rajesh. It
this,
was a pleasure.
with the last but not the least, I thank all those students who have joined this event in what would be the gadgets, what would be the platform, what would be the way someone you have been thought of. It is only for you people, and also I thank the people who are helping us to reach all this thing through this YouTube link through Sruthi CRS, our college community radio system station. Because without them, it is very difficult to really have the repository of all your talk and all. It has been viewed in the later time as well. As you can even you have seen the previous episodes as well. We can have around 1,000 odd people have been viewed. Maybe due to inclement weather, some may not join as expected in numbers. But I think the people who have joined, I think I am really happy to get these kind of questions from my students as well. I hope things have started well and it goes in a positive directions, and you have get around 5 to 6 questions this week. I hope it will be multiplied in exponential way in the upcoming weeks as well, given the confidence you have given through your talk. Thank you, Anand. Thanks a lot for your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rajesh. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, KRV sir.